With how much Squaresoft killed it back in the 90s and early 2000s, Final Fantasy was showing just what video games could really be. Deep RPG mechanics, intricate storytelling, these games were putting Squaresoft on the map. But around that time, it wasn't just Final Fantasy Square was working with. They had their hands on every genre. Rail shooters like Einhander, 3D action RPGs like Threads of Fate, shooter RPGs laced with mild horror with Parasite Eve, even publishing fighters like Tobal No. 1. It was like they had no limit to their creativity. Or their budget. Well, that was until Square wanted to try their hand at the big screen with Final Fantasy Spirits Within. This would be Square's attempt at bringing their popular video game franchise to theaters, where they would quickly learn that a video game's production budget at the time didn't quite equate to movie budget. So when this movie completely failed in theaters, it severely damaged the company. This would play a major part in the merger that would lead to the Square Enix we know today. But dialing back to Squaresoft's experimental phase in the late 90s and 2000s, one game among those creations was Ehrgeiz. While I feel most of the projects at the time were coherent enough in theme and gameplay, Ehrgeiz comes off feeling like party mix. But hey, it's got Final Fantasy characters in it, that's pretty cool. I feel everyone has a game from their childhood that just kind of appeared in their collection. For me, that was Musia, the classic tale of Japanese horror, and this game. I'm sure my brothers may have gotten it in a trade of some sort, but coming home with no knowledge of this game had me questioning if it was even real. Boy, what I was in for. Largely the big draw of Ehrgeiz, God Bless the Ring, is the fighting game aspect of it. It's a 3D arena fighter done more to the theme of wrestling more so than your standard kicks and punches. Not to say those aren't included, but you'll also be shooting missiles, summoning meteors, shape-shifting into feral cats, and using weapons. You know, wrestling. The Dream Factory production team put some of their previous efforts from the Tobal No. 1 and 2 and incorporated them into this game, spanning out for more of a wide 3D experience. I joke, but overall the gameplay of Ehrgeiz is pretty tight. Each character feels unique, even the non-Final Fantasy characters have aspects that make them fun. Attacks feel heavy and impactful, and there are enough evasive maneuvers that can save you from the more overpowered moves. And you can launch off walls that are as fun to perform as they are hilarious. It's a little surprising just how nearly balanced this game can be. Sure, you've got characters with moves that track you, but even those can be avoided. What's more, you'd think the character with the ridiculously long sword would have an unfair area advantage, but the way they have Sephiroth keep his blade behind him for short burst and fast attacks makes the situation much more bearable. There's not a super lot to say about the other characters because while all original, they do seem based off something. Like Lei Wulong from Tekken, or Bruce from Tekken, or Huarong from Tekken. Look, inspiration or borderline identity theft aside, they are all fine enough characters. I like this lady who can turn into a cat that you just have to low kick the shit out of when she does. And this yo-yo cop that protects and serves with powerful yo-yoing. This is certainly a game to sit down with some friends and share a few rounds. The more friends, the better with a game like this that could call back to the Tekken days. But hey, what if you don't like 3D arena fighters? Well, don't worry because this game's got you covered. In the weirdest of ways, because like I said before, this game is party mix. Not only do you have a comprehensive fighter, but a whole Diablo-esque RPG as well as some dumb minigames. Booting up the game gives you a few options. The aforementioned fighter, a myriad of minigames, and a quest RPG, all with menu sound effects that are entirely too loud. Starting with the minigames, you've got beach adventures, running laps around the stage, and a light game that incorporates some of the fighting from the arena fighter. My favorite is the beach activities, mainly because you can have Cloud or Sephiroth doing this ridiculous beach event. But considering the nature of Final Fantasy VII, it's not too out of character for Cloud. The laps around the stage are pretty fun, but mostly if you have someone to play with, you'll probably just wind up duking it out instead of doing what you're supposed to. And the light game is fun, but pretty short-lived. Whatever, it's a minigame. But for the solo player, the quest RPG is a pretty interesting concept. You start out with two characters as they explore a town plagued with monsters. You'll have to manage resources, scour for stronger weapons, and utilize your magic abilities as you slowly make your way through these monster-filled dungeons. The beginning starts you off with a mountain of text on how to play the game that at the time my dumb child brain chose to ignore and promptly found myself questioning why I was dying so quickly. It really was a case of feeling the game was impossible but just refusing to read what the game tells you. The game literally says that you need to start at the top and work your ways down the mountain, whereas I would just jump into the first entrance I could find and promptly die, thinking the game was automatically terrible. The combat does benefit from implementing some of the gameplay from the fighting segment and kind of keeps you on the edge of your seat, because it's hard to tell what's coming and what might just end your run. Going back to this, I found myself really enjoying this mode. This randomized kind of dungeon crawler mixed with arena fighter gameplay had me playing a bit even after I had recorded what I needed. That said, I still don't know if these games being wedged together was the best idea. I know that these extra modes were exclusive to the PS1 arcade port, but I feel some of the effort could have went into fishing out the arena fighter, giving characters motivations and plot points, putting better effort into understanding what you're actually doing in this game, maybe even tie in some of the Final Fantasy characters somehow. Give them a better reason for being here. Ehrgeiz, God Bless the Ring still feels like some kind of fever dream to me, but damn if I don't love it. While I encourage you to check it out, I can't justify the price this game can go for. Plus there are other fighters that probably deserve more of your time. But if by chance you're hungry for some ridiculous movesets combined with some pretty interesting minigames and a solo quest that I do feel is worth your time, then this trail mix of a game might just be what you're looking for. Thanks for watching. Hey guys, thanks for listening to me talk about Ehrgeiz for some reason. If you like this video, leave a like, and if you're new, consider subscribing. As always, thanks for watching, and keep it practical.